Welcome to the Dungeon Brew Coffee Tavern, where every cup tells a story, and every story starts with a sip. Join us on a journey of adventure, camaraderie, and of course, the finest brews, served hot and steeped in mystery. From dragons to ancient legends, we're brewing up more than just coffee. Today's tale begins on one of the busiest nights the Crossroads Tavern had seen in months. Lantern lights spilled from every window of Dungeon Brew Coffee Tavern while laughter, music, and the smell of fresh food drifted out into the cool evening air. Travelers packed the common room shoulder to shoulder as mugs clinked together and boots stomped along to the rhythm of a traveling fiddle player near the hearth. Servers hurried between crowded tables carrying trays stacked high with drinks, pastries, roasted meats, and steaming bowls of stew while the kitchen worked at a pace that bordered somewhere between organized chaos and outright panic. Now, grab your mug, settle in, and get ready for the next chapter in our brewing saga. Season 2, Episode 22, The Sticky Bandits. The summer festival in the nearby village had filled every road leading to the crossroads, and many travelers had chosen the tavern for their evening meal and entertainment. Even the upstairs rooms were completely full for the first time in weeks. Near the kitchen counter, a growing line of customers waited impatiently for the newest dessert creations that had mysteriously begun appearing from the tavern pantry ever since Snooks had hatched. Glazed honey cakes, cinnamon cream rolls, sparkling berry tarts, and warm sugar-dusted pastries vanished almost as quickly as they could be served.
I swear this place smells less like a tavern and more like somebody weaponized a bakery.
People seem happy enough about it.
Happiness is not the issue. Sugar should not stick to the ceiling beams.
That depends entirely on how ambitious the dessert is.
Near one of the larger tables, Snooks darted excitedly between chairs with several laughing children following behind him. The little dessert dragon chirped happily while balancing a stolen dollop of whipped cream across the top of his snout. Every few steps he paused to stare wide-eyed at some new distraction before racing toward it with hatchling enthusiasm. His tiny claws clicked rapidly across the wooden floorboards while his tail occasionally knocked into chair legs, boots, and once into a tray that Java barely caught before it crashed into a nearby customer.
Easy there, little guy. Love.
One of the children giggled as Snooks sneezed suddenly, sending a puff of powdered sugar into the air like fresh snowfall. The nearby table erupted into laughter while Braticus leaned dramatically against the counter as though witnessing the arrival of a legendary hero.
Behold, the mighty sugar dragon unleashes his terrible confectionery wrath.
Stop encouraging him.
Never.
Behind the warmth and celebration, however, Fate's Skuld sat quietly near the corner of the common room with untouched tea resting between her hands. Unlike the others, her pale eyes remained fixed not on the music or the crowds, but on several cloaked travelers scattered throughout the tavern. Mud stained their boots despite the roads being dry, and though they pretended to drink and laugh with the other patrons, their attention wandered too often toward the exits, the register, and the pantry door behind the counter.
Java.
HM?
Storms do not always arrive with thunder.
Java followed her gaze toward the scattered strangers. His expression tightened slightly, though he kept moving as another customer called for refills near the hearth. Around them, the tavern continued roaring with life and celebration, completely unaware that danger had already taken a seat among them. The music continued, though the warmth of the evening had begun to shift beneath the surface. Most of the tavern remained blissfully unaware as mugs were refilled, cards were dealt across crowded tables, and exhausted travelers relaxed beside the hearth. Yet beneath the noise and celebration, quiet movements passed between the suspicious strangers seated throughout the common room. One man casually rose from his chair and drifted closer toward the front entrance while another repositioned himself near the hallway leading toward the guest rooms upstairs. Near the counter, a heavy-set traveler leaned against the support beam with his attention fixed far too carefully on the register beside Java. Fate watched them all in silence.
They are spreading out.
I noticed.
Could still be nothing.
And if it is not?
Then we finally have tonight's entertainment.
You are not helping.
Snooks paused near the edge of the room as the shifting mood finally reached him. The hatchling's excitement began to fade beneath growing uncertainty. Loud laughter that had once sounded welcoming now felt sharp and uneven. Several voices had lowered into tense whispers. Chairs scraped against the floorboards in ways that no longer sounded playful. The little dessert dragon glanced around nervously while the children who had followed him moments earlier returned to their families. One of the cloaked men near the fireplace stared directly at Snooks for a moment too long before exchanging a glance with another across the room. Snooks immediately lowered himself closer to the floor and hurried beneath a nearby table.
Meh.
From beneath the hanging tablecloth, Snooks watched boots moving back and forth across the floorboards. The tavern suddenly felt enormous and crowded in all the wrong ways. His tiny claws tightened nervously against the wood while distant laughter mixed with the growing tension hanging in the air. Somewhere nearby, a mug slammed harder onto a table than necessary, causing Snooks to flinch. Patches quietly stepped away from the counter and crouched beside the table where the hatchling hid.
Hey there.
Mug.
You feel it too, huh?
Snooks peeked out nervously as Patches sat down cross-legged beside him without rushing him or trying to pull him into the open.
Being scared is fine.
Snooks gave a small uncertain chirp.
What matters is what you do next.
Across the tavern, one of the strangers slowly reached beneath his cloak. Near the entrance, another casually slid the heavy front door shut while pretending to adjust the lantern hanging beside it. The sound of the latch clicking into place disappeared beneath the noise of the crowd, unnoticed by nearly everyone except Fate.
It begins.
Java subtly set down the tray he had been carrying. Nyved's eyes narrowed as faint wisps of smoke curled briefly from his nostrils. Braticus slowly rose from his chair with the expression of a man who had just been personally invited to his favorite kind of disaster.
Ah, there it is. I was wondering when the night would improve.
The moment stretched tight across the tavern like a rope ready to snap. Music still played near the hearth, though the fiddler hands had begun to slow as more patrons noticed the strange silence spreading between the scattered cloaked travelers. Conversations faltered one by one. A serving girl paused halfway to a table. Someone near the back quietly pushed their chair away from the table as instinctive unease settled over the room. Then the heavy-set traveler beside the support beam stepped forward and drew a sword from beneath his cloak in one sharp motion.
Nabrogi move.
The common room froze. Several gasps broke out immediately while mugs stopped halfway to mouths and chairs scraped violently across the floor. Near the entrance, the man beside the door pulled a hatchet free while another overturned a table to block part of the room. The warm atmosphere of the tavern shattered almost instantly beneath the hard edge of real danger.
Stay seated, stay quiet, and nobody gets hurt.
One frightened patron stood too quickly from his chair.
Sit down.
The bandit slammed the flat of his blade against the table beside the man hard enough to splinter wood. Several people cried out while others ducked lower into their seats. Behind the counter, Java slowly raised his hands while carefully watching the positions of every bandit in the room.
Easy now. No reason this needs to turn ugly.
Then you hand over the register nice and come.
You could have simply asked. We might have poisoned you politely instead.
Nyved.
What? I am participating in negotiations.
A nervous laugh escaped from one of the nearby customers before dying almost immediately beneath the glare of the armed thieves. Fate remained seated near the corner, her pale eyes drifting calmly from one bandit to another as though watching pieces settle across a game board only she understood.
7 bandits.
I counted 6.
1 outside still.
Braticus slowly rose to his full height near the center of the tavern. Unlike everyone else, he looked almost delighted.
Now this feels like a proper festival evening.
Sit down before they stab you.
They are welcome to try.
You think this is funny?
Honestly, a little.
The bandit leader pointed his sword directly toward Braticus.
You want to be first?
Depends. Is there a dramatic speech involved? I do enjoy dramatic speeches.
One of the bandits near the staircase tightened his grip on a club.
Boss, should I set him up?
Ah, see, now that lacks artistry.
Near the kitchen entrance, Snooks trembled beneath the table where Patches still sat nearby. His bright eyes darted frantically around the room while fear and confusion twisted together inside him. Every raised voice sounded sharper now. Every sudden movement felt dangerous. The hatchling pressed lower against the floorboards as another patron began quietly crying near the hearth.
Meh.
Breathe, little one. Look at me.
The hatchling hesitated before slowly focusing on her face instead of the chaos around him.
Good. Fear tells you something matters. Does not mean you stop thinking.
Snooks' breathing slowed slightly, though his tail still twitched nervously against the floor. At the counter, the bandit leader motioned aggressively with his sword.
Open the cash box.
All right.
Java slowly stepped toward the register while subtly glancing toward Nyved and Fate. Nyved's claws flexed against the edge of the counter while thin trails of smoke continued escaping from his nostrils.
I dislike this plan already.
That makes two of us.
One of the younger bandits suddenly noticed movement beneath the nearby tablecloth.
Hold up. What's under there?
Snooks froze.
Draga идти out.
The bandit stepped closer and reached down toward the hanging cloth.
I would reconsider that.
Move, catfolk.
Patches did not move.
Last warning.
I said move.
The bandit grabbed the edge of the tablecloth and jerked it upward. Snooks stared back at him with wide, terrified eyes.
What in the blazes is that?
Several nearby patrons gasped as the hatchling was revealed.
It's another dragon.
A baby dragon.
Boss, they've got 3 dragons in here.
We are a very inclusive establishment.
I do not care if we got dancing goblins. Stay focused.
The younger bandit crouched slightly and pointed towards Snooks with visible uncertainty.
Is it dangerous?
Extremely.
Nyved.
What? It could become true very quickly. He is a dragon.
Snooks shrank backward beneath the table as the armed stranger loomed closer. The hatchling's breathing became rapid and uneven again while faint sparkling wisps began drifting from the corners of his mouth without him noticing.
Snooks.
The little dragon whimpered softly.
Stay calm.
The bandit reached forward anyway.
Oh, look at the little thing.
Snooks hiccuped suddenly. A burst of powdered sugar exploded directly into the bandit's face.
Quack.
The tavern erupted into startled shouting as the bandit stumbled backward, blindly coughing clouds of sugar across the room. Several patrons ducked while Braticus burst into booming laughter.
The beast strikes first blood.
Grab the dragon.
Every muscle in Nyved tightened instantly.
Now that's a terrible decision.
Let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsors.
Adventurers, travelers, and coffee lovers alike. Welcome to Dungeon Brew Coffee. Whether you crave the boldest brew, a magical chai, or a sweet spice cider, we've got something to fuel every quest. Sip it at home with our online blends, or catch us live at events across Virginia, and soon in West Virginia and North Carolina, as we bring the tavern experience straight to you. And here's a little extra loot for your journeys. Keep your lemonade cup and bring it back to any event we're at and save $1 on your refill. That's one more treasure for your pocket. So, whether you're chasing dragons or deadlines, make Dungeon Brew Coffee your first stop, because every great day begins with a magical cup in hand.
And now, back to our show. The moment the order left the bandit leader's mouth, the tavern exploded into motion. Chairs overturned across the floor as frightened patrons scrambled away from the center of the room. One of the musicians dove behind the hearth while another clutched his fiddle protectively against his chest like a shield. The air filled with shouting, crashing wood, and the sharp hiss of Nyved's growing temper.
Nobody touches the hatchling.
Smoke burst from Nyved's nostrils as the red dragon lunged across the counter faster than several of the bandits expected. One thief barely managed to throw himself aside before Nyved slammed into the countertop where he had been standing moments earlier.
The red one's attacking!
Well, yes. You threatened his tiny dessert apprentice. What outcome were you hoping for?
Near the table, the younger bandit wiped powdered sugar from his eyes and reached again towards Snooks.
Hold still, you little.
Snooks squeaked in panic. A thick stream of shimmering syrup blasted directly from the hatchling's mouth and splattered across the floorboards beneath the bandit's boots.
What in?
His feet shot out from beneath him instantly. The bandit slammed flat onto his back and slid halfway across the tavern until he crashed violently into another thief near the fireplace. Both men collapsed into a pile of tangled limbs and broken chairs. Braticus grabbed a nearby tray of pastries from a startled server.
Finally, tactical desserts.
Braticus? Really?
Braticus hurled a cream-filled pastry across the room. It struck one of the bandits directly in the forehead and exploded in a burst of cream.
Seriously.
Precision strike.
At the counter, Java vaulted over a fallen stool and grabbed a frightened customer before pulling them out of the path of a swinging hatchet.
Everybody move toward the walls. Stay low.
Another bandit charged toward the register, only for fate to quietly extend one foot just enough to catch his ankle. The thief stumbled forward directly into a hanging lantern pole and collapsed unconscious onto a table.
Fate cheated.
I merely shortened the future.
Near the kitchen entrance, Snooks trembled violently as the tavern spiraled into chaos around him. The hatchling's panic rose higher with every shout and crash. Sparkling wisps drifted faster from his mouth now while magical energy built uncontrollably around him.
Snooks, listen to me.
Nah.
Focus on my voice.
Another bandit rushed toward them with rope in hand.
Grab the little dragon.
Snooks let out a frightened squeal. Suddenly, thick ribbons of pink taffy erupted across the room like launched ropes.
What?
The enchanted taffy wrapped around the charging bandit's arms and legs before slamming him sideways into a support beam. He struggled wildly as the sticky candy tightened around him like glue.
Get this stuff off me!
Another strand shot across the tavern and wrapped around a second thief's ankle. The man yelped as he was jerked backward into a table full of abandoned drinks.
Boo.
Did you just sound impressed?
I said nothing.
The bandit leader growled furiously and shoved the patron aside while forcing his way towards Snooks through the chaos.
Forget the money. Grab the dragon.
His sword cut through the air as customers scattered away from him in panic.
Snooks.
Snooks flinched backward hard enough to tumble onto his back. Then the hatchling sneezed. A massive burst of powdered sugar detonated outward like a white cloud across half the tavern.
Blinding me with sugar is not a dragon thing.
The entire room disappeared beneath sparkling sugar dust. Coughing erupted everywhere while Nyved snarled in irritation.
I cannot see.
Neither can they. Outstanding strategy.
Through the swirling white haze, the bandit leader stumbled blindly forward.
Somebody grab him.
Snooks hiccuped again. A wall of giant marshmallow-like foam suddenly burst upward between Snooks and the advancing thieves with enough force to send two bandits sprawling backward across the floor.
Why does it keep getting worse?
Better.
What?
It keeps getting better.
Java finally lost composure long enough to laugh once as one of the trapped bandits attempted to free himself from syrup only to lose his boots entirely and fall face-first into caramel-coated floorboards.
All right. I admit that one was funny.
Nyved climbed onto the counter and inhaled sharply.
Move!
A controlled stream of hot spice-laced smoke blasted across the tavern, forcing several remaining bandits backward toward the entrance.
My eyes. Why are my eyes burning?
Because unlike dessert dragons, I believe in practical combat.
At that exact moment, one of Snooks' enchanted cream puffs exploded directly against Nyved's face. Silence fell for one dangerous second.
Oh no.
Powdered sugar slowly slid down Nyved's snout.
Do not laugh.
Nobody laugh.
Braticus immediately failed. Nyved turned slowly toward him.
Choose your next words carefully.
You look so sweet.
Nyved launched himself across the room after Braticus while the warrior monk roared with laughter and vaulted over a table to escape. Meanwhile, the bandit leader finally managed to stagger free of the sugar cloud and charged towards Snooks one final time with a furious roar.
I am ending this.
Snooks froze.
Snooks.
The hatchling squeezed his eyes shut in terror. Then every remaining ounce of dessert magic inside him erupted all at once. A tidal wave of enchanted caramel burst across the tavern floor with the force of a breaking river.
Come on.
The bandit leader disappeared completely beneath the wave before slamming into the front door hard enough to rattle the entire building. Thick caramel instantly hardened around him like amber, pinning him helplessly against the wood with only his head sticking out. The tavern fell silent except for dripping syrup and Braticus's uncontrollable laughter.
I hate this tavern.
Silence lingered across the tavern for several long seconds after the final crash faded away. Sticky caramel dripped slowly from overturned tables while powdered sugar floated lazily through the lantern light like settling snow. The once lively common room now looked as though a bakery, an alchemy lab, and a battlefield had all collided in the same unfortunate location. Somewhere near the hearth, a chair finally collapsed under the weight of hardened taffy. Then the entire tavern erupted into overlapping noise.
Did the little dragon just defeat them?
I have caramel in my boots.
Is this ceiling supposed to be dripping frosting?
Yes. Fear the confectionery warlock.
Near the entrance, the bandit leader remained firmly glued to the front door beneath several layers of enchanted caramel. He struggled uselessly while syrup slowly slid down the sides of his face.
Somebody get me out of this.
Counteroffer.
I am going to eliminate all of you.
You are currently losing a fight against Candy.
One of the trapped bandits nearby raised his hand weakly from beneath a pile of marshmallow foam.
Could I at least get some water?
Honestly, after tonight, that feels fair.
Java moved carefully through the tavern checking on customers while helping people back to their feet. Despite the destruction, most of the patrons appeared more stunned than injured. Several had already begun laughing nervously now that the danger had passed. A little girl near the fireplace pointed excitedly toward Snooks.
The baby dragon saved everybody.
Snooks peeked cautiously from behind Patches' leg. The hatchling's tiny body still trembled from adrenaline while bits of powdered sugar clung to his snout and horns. Around him, the tavern looked utterly ruined. Syrup coated the floorboards. Pastries hung from light fixtures. One entire section of wall had somehow become covered in hardened marshmallow.
Meh.
The hatchling lowered his head guiltily. Patches crouched beside him. Snooks slowly glanced up.
Hey, look around. Everybody's safe.
The hatchling gave a small uncertain chirp.
You protected your home.
Snooks blinked slowly while her words settled over him. Nearby, Nyved finally managed to scrape most of the cream filling from his face while glaring at Braticus across the room.
If you repeat what happened, I will bury you beneath the tavern.
You launched yourself heroically through airborne pastries while screaming about tactical positioning.
I did not scream.
You definitely screamed.
Betrayal. Everywhere.
Fate quietly sipped her tea again as though the evening had unfolded exactly as expected.
You knew this was coming, didn't you?
Pieces rarely move differently simply because we wish them to.
I understood none of that, but it sounded important.
Outside, muffled voices and approaching footsteps finally echoed from the road as local guards arrived far too late to prevent anything.
Open up in there.
Don't open the door.
Java carefully unlatched the side entrance instead. Two guards stepped cautiously inside before stopping dead at the sight awaiting them. Hardened caramel covered half the common room. Several unconscious bandits remained trapped beneath candy, syrup, and marshmallow restraints. Powdered sugar coated nearly every visible surface. One thief still hung partially suspended from a ceiling beam by pink taffy.
What happened here?
Organized crime met desert justice.
I do not even know where to begin writing this report.
Start with their humiliation. It is the strongest detail.
As the guards began collecting the surviving thieves, several patrons returned to their tables instead of leaving. The fear that had filled the tavern earlier had already begun transforming into excitement and laughter. Stories spread from table to table faster with every retelling.
The little dragon trapped 3 men at once.
He saw one slide across the entire room.
The caramel wave came out of nowhere.
Incorrect. The caramel wave came from destiny.
Snooks listened quietly while peeking around Patches' shoulder. Slowly, uncertainty gave way to cautious pride.
Feeling better? Good. That's what family does. We protect each other.
For the record, the marshmallow wall was strategically acceptable.
Highest praise he has ever given anyone.
Do not ruin the moment.
Hours later, the tavern had finally grown quiet again. Most patrons had either gone upstairs to bed or wandered back out toward the festival roads. The remaining lanterns burned low while the crew slowly worked through the enormous mess left behind by the battle. Braticus hacked unsuccessfully at hardened caramel with a kitchen knife.
I think the door is part candy now.
We may need a new door.
We may need a new tavern.
We're not rebuilding the tavern because of one dessert dragon incident.
One? Optimistic.
Near the pantry entrance, Snooks had finally exhausted himself completely. The hatchling slept soundly atop a pile of flour sacks with a tiny untouched pastry resting between his front claws. Soft little snoring chirps escaped him while powdered sugar still dusted the tip of his nose. The others gradually slowed their cleaning as they looked over toward the sleeping hatchling.
Tiny terror.
Tiny hero.
Tiny disaster.
Tiny family.
Fate watched the sleeping dessert dragon quietly for a moment as the lantern light flickered across the ruined tavern around them.
The crossroads remembers those who defend it.
Outside, beyond the warm glow of Dungeon Brew Coffee Tavern, stories had already begun spreading along the roads between villages and travelers alike. Tales of armed thieves defeated not by warriors, nor blades, nor ancient magic alone, but by a tiny dessert dragon with powdered sugar breath and enough enchanted caramel to stop a charging bandit cold. And somewhere in the distance, more than one weary traveler quietly decided that robbing Dungeon Brew Coffee Tavern was probably a very bad idea. Especially if the little dragon was awake.
Don't forget to hit the like button.
Yeah! And maybe drop a comment. It's like getting something in the mail. Gotta love getting some mail from your friends, right?
Maybe they don't like us, Nyved. You shouldn't expect everyone to like us.
Not like us? Inconceivable. Who doesn't like a team as amazing as us? Or baby dragons at the very least.
We must let them decide. We can only play our part. And hope.
The fire is low, the mugs are empty, and tonight's tale has come to an end. But the journey is far from over. Thank you for gathering with us at Dungeon Brew Coffee Tavern, where adventure brews with every sip. Join us next time as new challenges arise, mysteries deepen, and the magic of the tavern unfolds. If you enjoyed this taste of adventure, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell so you never miss a new episode. We'll save a seat for you at the tavern. See you soon.